Welcome to Akhand Vidyashram, the first into impeccable wisdom. Today is the 1st January 2025. A new beginning, new epic, new awareness, new resolutions. With that, I am starting this video of Om, the greatest Pranava, a Pran Vayu, Maha Mantra of the universe. Understand what Om can do to our consciousness completely. I'll try to cover almost every aspect of it. Second thing, wish you all very happy 2025. Let all progress, prosperity, everything be there for all of us to be highly educated, wise, impeccable, and uniting the entire world with highest impeccable wisdom we can ever dream of. Let there be uniform syllabus for everyone so that there is no difference between any child, any student, any professor, any teacher, anywhere in the world. We need a uniform syllabus of maths, physics, chemistry, all the subject, and this is the beginning of my videos only with that objective. Second thing is, let me also tell you, every year I've been making certain resolutions on 1st January which have made a real difference to myself. Now I'm revealing it that 1st January 1951, before I was born, within my mother's womb, I have taken first thing praying to divinity, let me have integrated perfect anatomy, physiology, biochemistry and psychology. And with that is a particular symbol which I made at a later date of B double helix DNA as such is a result of that thought, which is almost 74 years ago, and it has changed. Second resolution was that by the time 7 years I finished, I am now ready to go to school. Pray to Goddess Saraswati, be my teacher, teach me everything which is impeccable wisdom. Let me be an excellent student. Let me be an exemplary student. Let me learn everything as perfectly as could be. That was my first intention before going to school, that I should know impeccable wisdom hands on. I should not be a copy student. I should analyze things, understand the concept, and improve upon that as I move in life. That was the first resolution before going to school. 58. Then 1965, I took another resolution because my father had a paralytic stroke which I did not recover. Till such time I wanted to become a mathematician, exemplary, otherwise. Then I said, no, what am I going to do becoming a mathematician? Let me become a doctor and treat every patient as if I'm treating my father and mother as a perfect for preventive medicine so that nobody falls sick. With that, I took a resolution to become intelligent doctor and then got from scientific mathematical side to the medical studies. That was a turning point of my life. First decision to change from mathematics to medical science, I think is a wonderful decision. 1975, by the time I finished my graduation, I was a house surgeon. That's the time I decided now I time for me to practice medicine perfectly. Then decision was to excellent professional medical profession, physician, surgeon, everything to connect with medical profession. I should be an excellent. And that decision had changed me to lead to preventive medicine and maybe talk of reverse of aging as on today. Then 1979, I started Akhand Pharma. By 1984, I took over as a proprietor of Akhand Pharma for next 25 years to make excellent quality drugs of the highest quality at the most economical rate, everything. So everything starting from ingredients to production to the final product was checked under my direct supervision to the excellent, that we had a record, not even single product ever failed in quality. Even CGMP, a good manufacturer government of India, was based on the work which I had done in 1984-85 itself, 40 years ago. And I'm glad that concept to make bioavailability excellent, fantastic resolution, fasting resolution has worked very well for pharmaceutical country, at least with Akhand Pharma and other countries in the country. Then Habits for almost for 44 decades, 40 years, excellence in education, research, otherwise fantastic, no doubt. Preparing myself to move on. Maybe by the time 40 years, divinity realized the time for me to move from the external world's proactive thing to realize that there is something within me which can make a change further. And that chance was to get initiated into simplified Kundalini Yoga by Maharishi Vettatri in Chennai, when he made me realize the movement of Kundalini chakras, nadis within my body. That was a turning point, initiation, which transformed me completely. That external and internal became one. That is yoga. Ashtanga yoga became 10 stages of this Akhand yoga. Was a phenomenal part. And next 2 years I studied all the subjects and I found all the books were defective. That's the reason I decided in 92 that let me become a perfect person at every level. There is not even single thing which is defective, which is perfect human being. A divine human being should not resort to, which can block my system, which is unnatural. So I became a pure vegetarian and absolutely no habit, no medicines are there. That decision made me become perfect human being, and it took me many years to undo the damage of first 40 years of irregular food habits, etc., to make myself perfect. In last 30 years I've done extremely well. Then by the time 2 years after studying everything, I felt I'm a good subject for research. I have experienced it. So registered from Madras University for PhD work, and that was a turning point. For 2 years, research was done conscientiously to experience, and the most beautiful thing which appeared in the process was I could produce alpha frequency after opening the eyes throughout the brain at a much lower frequency than normally it is. That was a turning point, but different from what medical science or neuroscience was talking about. That was a turning point in research for simplified Kundalini Yoga to Kundalini Yoga physiology with a power spectrum analysis of EEG which, after 95. But then after that, when I experienced that everything is beautiful, then I started my charitable trust, Akhand Foundation, then made a logo. But with the process of logo understanding experience, I could understand the ancient Indian symbols completely. All the gods and goddesses pictures I knew very well, symbolic representation, and convert the whole thing into Akhand also was very well. But that's the time I also felt that I should know something very clear. That's 1st January 1997. I prayed to divinity again. You have made me understand animate form. You have made me understand semi-animate form. You have made me do wonderful well. If you can make me do all the concept in an inanimate form, just geometry and mathematics, nothing other than that. If you can make me do, then I will follow you only for rest of my life, not anybody else. And that decision gave me this particular thing which I made from 1997 till today. My guide is my Antaratma Aditi. And of course, all the gods and goddesses are very clearly helping me through the medium. Now, my communication with Voice of Silence has given me the power within my body and remember it, reproduce it at will at any given moment of time. So I'm literally like a walking, talking encyclopedia because of decision done in this particular stage, 1st January 1997, that all the knowledge is there in my brain. The RAM capacity is phenomenal. And that was a turning point. Then comes to year 2002, 1-5. By that time, I had understood about Brahma consciousness. I had known about Vishnu consciousness. I had known about Shiva consciousness, but number of Shiva consciousness, 5 digits, was not known. But over a process, I learned how to move on with the help of my voice of silence, my Antaratma, and the divinities that I have come. Then, with the help of my friend Professor Govindrajulu, we sat on a computer and with as SPS version 21, we calculated thing and brought this number called Divyank, which is right at the bottom. 22 by 21 to the power of 10.34419 equivalent to 1.618034. This is a number which is the best number, divine number, and this is the only number with perfect things are designed. Now with that, I wrote my first book on Deviant, the divine constant, and then of course gone on to other things. But that was a turning point, giving world recognition of something for the first time in the history of mankind, never done in the history of mankind by anyone till date. So that way, 1st January 2002, 15 was a phenomenal decision to go to Devyank and give the world something which is unique, perfect in every level. That was a great resolution. Then come 2018 January. Now let me complete my book on Akhand Sutra Integrated Science Consciousness, where all the 64 arts and sciences are brought together within Devyank alone. I think that was a turning point. That book was published in 2018. Similarly, my website was started in the same year and also started giving questions in Quora at that given moment of time, along my teaching in college, professional, other thing, a new turning of spiritual science, which started in 1991. It took a beautiful turn in 20 years to come to this particular stage, or 70 years to come to this stage. Wonderful, enlightening, by and large, step by step. Then now I'm the 1st January 2025. I've come to a stage that I can be a single person like a pole star, like a Dhruva Tara, that right from the middle of the sun to Dhruv Tara, all the mathematical design, I am able to see completely as one. I have already been talking about it in my videos, and now I have literally want to become an instrument or something like a Dhruv, like a pole star, like a Polaris. I should work of impeccable wisdom for the entire world, entire universe, which has never been done in the history of mankind. This process is already started. From this is let me concentrate on that. So mathematics is going to take a duty. Right at the thing, I get a 45 into 45 is 2055. It is the science of the highest 999. Isn't it amazing? But you're going to see things, little more reflection and go on modifying hereafter, much more detail, as if entire wisdom is come from pole star right of the sun, with the wisdom which nature had designed everything from the beginning till today, and will always remain same thing. This is something which nobody has ever done in the history of mankind, and I'm glad I'm able to do that. If that is understood, let's have a syllabus throughout the world which is perfect for every angle, for every child throughout the world. Let there be no differences for it. Let every child be enlightened. With this now, with the Google, YouTube, Quora, and the mediums which do not interfere, you let you publish things the way you want, and which is not a copy of somebody else, without any plagiarism, very any similarity problems, we can give the world, and I think I am able to do that extremely well. Let's move on. Let's unite the world for world peace by and large. That is the resolution for the day, January 1, 2025. That impeccable wisdom for everyone with the love of it, coming from Shibhushan Sharma to the world through YouTube, Quoras, and all the mediums which will lay a foundation, that uniform syllabus, uniform knowledge without any deficiency of the core of the universal consciousness for everyone in the world, so that we can all be perfectly healthy, wealthy, wise, and happy human beings. Now come back to the question with which this video is all about, Om. This is a symbol of Om, which I had designed in 1974, 50 years ago. And I was not into spiritual science. I was not into anything. Of course, my intentions were always been to be perfect. But this particular thing explained to me today about Mandukya Upanishads, that is made of Bhu, Mother Earth, is made of 7 parts. Yukara represents Bhuva, atmosphere, of 7 parts. Makara, Swa, heaven, 7 heavens. By that 7, 7, 7, 21 part is what Chandogya Upanishad is also talking about solar system, and Om is also talking of the same thing. AUM is Om, not OM. Then last part, the 22nd part is Turiya, which goes beyond the solar system. Same thing is spoken in Upanishads, same thing is spoken in Vedas. Space, that is ultimate consciousness you can ever dream of. It covers waking consciousness, dream consciousness, deep sleep consciousness, and Turiya consciousness, which different subject talk about. But Mandukya Upanishad is one thing with the smallest wisdom, most important Upanishad in my opinion, and I would like to talk about that also in this particular thing. And of course, Rig Vedas, at the conversion Aitreya Upanishad, also I'll talk what Loka-Palan is all about, the decision which I had taken before birth. This is aware. So from that, now first let's go on to the next stage. Now I'm going to talk about Mandukya Upanishad, verse 1. I'm not going to talk about Sanskrit, but I can only tell you the greatest symbol or Sarvam is Om only. This is omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent Om. It knows the past, present, and future events. It knows everything. Everything is made of 3 parts, Trinity. Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, Saraswati, Mahalakshmi, Mahakali. Everything is made of 3 parts. I learned that from Mandukya Upanishad, first verse itself. I thought that was amazing knowledge. How beautiful is science of spirituality. When come to the second person, I knew Om is a Brahma, is a God. Atma is Brahma. Atma is made of 4 parts. And that's what I realized. Om has got 4 parts. Akara, Yukara, Makara, and Turiya. And they represent Brahma. And that is a part of Brahma within Kundalini Yoga itself, is a picture in this, is a Muladhara. That is the consciousness which we got to understand completely. That was the second verse. That come to the third verse was that waking consciousness. As we are awake to the world, we should be aware of everything with a pure consciousness. And then it talks of the 7 limbs. Waking consciousness, which Chandogya Upanishad also talks about. This also talks is made of 7 parts. That means we should be conscious of the external world and know the 7 parts in that. That beauty of 7 also I learned with the making the symbol which I told you in 1997 only. Then of course 19 faces and other things. Let's not got into this particular stage. Let me tell you that waking consciousness is Jagrat, and that is required to collect all the data, information, knowledge of all the subjects, which we should also use to get impeccable wisdom completely. Then comes the next is a deep sleep consciousness. In that case is again made of 7 parts, and we experience the same beauty. And in that process, many of our experiences we get to know a universal consciousness when we are asleep itself. That is second stage of second. First 7, second 7 is the second stage. Then come to the deep sleep consciousness, in which we get to see many experiences, but we do not know. But we when get up, we feel completely fresh. That is the stage also we got to experience, that we should be in a position to cut off from active and take rest super consciously, and that is deep sleep. So Jagrat, dream, and deep sleep, 3 are of 7, 7, 7, 21 parts. Then comes the question of omnipotent laws, everything, and that is within that. And that is Sarvam, that is everything. By the time you realize the whole beauty is all into 3 itself. This is what Akhand Vidyashan is talking about. Then comes the question of Mandukya's verse 7. The fourth state is a self-realization. That means Antaratma to be known. Once Antaratma you know, you connect with Antaratma, which I experienced in 1st January 1991, is what is it talked about. You and your Antaratma become one, then you become example for the world to understand same thing. And that is what I see in Arjuna also. Even as a child and adult, he could meet his things as perfectly as possible Only the person who's with Antaratma becomes a guide, we can do wonders, otherwise not possible. Then come to eighth is, there are first stage is Akara, second Yukara, third is Makara. These are three stages of Om itself, is beautifully explained in this concept, and that is Om, is that Sat, that is truth, that is will give you the beginning, middle and end, all the three stages, creation, development and maturation, all you can understand with Om itself. That is eighth verse. Then come to the ninth verse, is very clear. In a waking consciousness, you can see the external world think completely. It's reinforcing of Akara as such, which three he talked about it in Om in the beginning, then Akara, Yukara, Makara. Now you're talking about waking consciousness, the first element. And knows this truth will get all the desires. Someone who is able to understand waking consciousness completely, nothing is beyond him. And one of the things which I asked, I wanted to be a perfect human being. And I think that is what I got it. Akhandata, I got it. Now I am talking about Turiya consciousness as well as pole star, Dhruv. So that everything is as perfect as you can ever dream of. It's result of this particular consciousness. Then second thing is Tejas, the light of dreaming consciousness, also comes to you as Yukara. In that, what is not seen in the external world, you can see in internal dream itself of something which is enlightening to all of us. And that also I've experienced in this particular thing, which is 10th verse itself. When come to 11th verse, is talking about deep sleep consciousness in Makara. In this, is all the roots, meters, everything of every aspect is completely merged into state of merging. You become part and parcel of universal consciousness. But only problem in this consciousness is you are not aware of it. But everything is getting rooted into your brain, getting registered in different part the way it should be. So as a result, you become a walking, talking encyclopedia in a next stage called Turiya stage. Now come to the Turiya stage. What you have learned as a student, college, university, professor, otherwise, what you have seen through the dreams, what you have integrated during deep sleep, you become a walking, talking only in Turiya stage. Within 12 verses, with the shortest thing, the kind of wisdom which is there in Mandukya Upanishad is that Om, and who is able to experience Om will know the entire universe actually, because sound of the universal consciousness is Om only. It's a Pranava, Pranavayu mantra, Soham, Hamsa, Om is that. And same thing, universal consciousness is all centers around Om only. So as a result, Om becomes very important part as a mantra vidya for everyone. Now, having understood that, in the light of understanding of Om first, now let me take you to the next stage of Gayatri Mantra as it is found for the first time in Rig Veda itself. Rig Veda in Mandala 10 is talked about Gayatri Mantra, but that Gayatri Mantra is different from what Gayatri Mantra we talked about it. Now in this I am going to talk about a mantra which is there in 10th. It starts Tat Savitur Varenyam Vargo Devasya Dhimhi Diyo Yonah Prachodhyat. This particular mantra starts with Tat. That is the word which is most important. But that is the Tat is something which we all should know. Tat Twamasi is not that I'm God. Tat Twamasi is Divyak alone. That's how I have seen it. So this mantra starts with Tat. And what happened after Tat? What Brahma and all of us should understand Tat, what it means, and take it to next stage one by one is what I'm going to talk about it in origin of Gayatri Mantra in Rig Veda, improvisation in Yajurveda, and as a Gayatri Mantra, as a Maha Gayatri Mantra, and also take it to the next stage of Akhand Gayatri Mantra. Why did I take it, and why my Antaratma wanted me to work, experience it, and share with the world? I'm going to talk about it as we move on one by one to that particular stage. Now, Rigved is Tat Savitur Varenyam Vargo Devasya Dhimhi Diyo Yonha Prachodhyat. But when it comes to Yajurved, the three more words have been added in front of Tat. Bhur Bhuva Swa. And Bhur Bhava Swa is nothing but A, U, M. Bhur is 7 parts, Bhuva is 7 parts, Swa is 7 parts. That means Tat is made of 21 parts. That is as clear as. But also Turiya could be the 27 part of the same as Bhur Bhava Swa Aha. Aha would be Turiya. So that is again Om within that. That was first realization from Rig Veda to Yajurveda was that Bhur Bhava Swa should be added to Gayatri Mantra by and large. That was first improvisation I see in Gayatri Mantra itself. Then come to the question of I am going to show that right from pubic bone right up to sole of the legs, you have Bhumi consciousness of 7 parts. Patal, Mahtal, Sasatal, Talatal, Sutal, Vital, and Atal. These are 7 stages of Earth's 7 elements which are connected with the lower legs completely. That is first 7 legs. When you say of Om, this is the part should vibrate fully as a 7 part together. That is what Om's version will be. Then second thing is you see there's 7 chakras which Tantra talks about it. Muladhara, Swadhisthana, Manipura, Nabhi, Anhata, Vishuddhi, Ajna, and Sahasrara. These are the 7 chakras which are connected with the bones which are shown in this particular thing, which is central bones. Coccyx, 4 parts, sacrum, 5 parts, lumbar, 5 parts, thoracic, 12 parts, and cervical, 8 parts. 14 bones of the face and 8 bones of the brain are the put together as such to give you that 7 chakras as such. 7 part of those chakras, and I talk about 10.344. Those are inside with the brain and spinal cord as such, with the autonomic nervous system and endocrine system. If it is only the shield outside of the bones, it is 7, but internally it is 10.34419. That's it. Then comes the heaven. Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Neptune, all the units are the 7 heavens, and they talk about 7 Mahagayatis which are there in Maha Gayatri Mantra. Om Bhur, Om Bhuva, Om Swa, Om Maha, Om Jana, Om Tapa, Om Satyam are the 7 Oms of Maha Narayani Upanishad. These are the suns connected with 7 chakras and 7 put together. This whole beauty of 7 is there in 3 different aspects done by Brahmins of Akhand Bharat thousands and thousands of years ago, so beautifully, independent of each other, but they experience the same thing there. But they're taken one part separately. And I'm trying to put them together and show the world the holisticness. And 27 is the Brahmalok outside the solar system, and that is what Chandogya Upanishad is. Solar system has to be experienced with 21 paces. To go beyond for self-realization, you need to have 22nd step, and that is moksha, that is mukti, that is liberation, that is salvation, that is enlightenment. That's it. So this beauty of Bhur Bhava Swa is known very in a graphic presentation within the body, inside and outside as such. Now the come to question. Now we have moved from Tat Savitur Varenyam Vargo Devasya Dhimhi Diyo Yonah Prachodya to Bhur Bhava Swa to added Om thereafter. This is the beauty is talking about Om was added as the last part of Gayatri Mantra, not as the first or second, but in the third part Om was added. So it becomes Om Bhu Bhava Swa Tat Savitur Varenyam Vargo Devasya Dhimhi Diyo Yonah Prachodhyat. This is the full Gayatri Mantra which I was initiated at the age of 7 years as a child. I've been chanting this mantra ever since my 7 years of age. 60 odd years I've chanted, and I'm glad that made me understand. Now I understand the whole concept better, and I've converted all into graphic presentations. You can see it down. You can see the first as a Gayatri. I did it in 1995, and others over a period I have gone on to take it to the level. As a result, this is Virat Roop of the entire universe. All the subjects, 64 arts, are very well within the second one. These are all done for the first time by me with the guidance of my Antaratma and all the divinities by and large. That was enlightening thing way back in 95, 97 itself. Now coming to the question, there are three important gestations or aspects of Gayatri we should know. Brahmani Gayatri is morning 6 a.m. We should face the east and put water and pray to Gayatri Mantra for ultraviolet lights. And that is the light which plants also use to get you maximum oxygen to the world. Then afternoon 12 o'clock, see the north and face and call it Vaishnavi. It's what Vishnu. The evening 6 p.m. face the west and is Rudrani Gayatri, which shows the infrared light, and that is also the ideal stage for plant to give you maximum oxygen. So now you see science and spirituality and Om and Gayatri all are becoming together, how they implement and become the science of spirituality. Now come to the question of Gayatri Mantra. I have explained how Gayatri Mantra is again. Om Bhur Bhava Swa Tatsavitur Varenyam Vargo Devasya Dhimhi Diyo Yonah Prachodhyat. And what is the meaning of each word? What is Om? What is Bhur? What is Bhuva? What is Swa? What is Tat? What is Savitur? What is Varenyam? What is Bhargo? What is Dhimhi? Diyo Yonah Prachodhyat. Meaning of all I have explained in this, and why we should have Brahmani Gayatri in the morning, Vaishnavi in the afternoon, Rudrani in the evening. All that I have explained in my books, I think made me understand how divine is this whole Gayatri Mantra, why it's called the greatest Gayatri. And of course, Om is inclusive part. In Gayatri Mantra, Om is only one time. That is beginning as such. Now we move on to the next stage, how things have improved as I have moved on to the higher and higher stages of consciousness. Now there comes the question of Gayatri Mantra, the Gayatri picture. In this Gayatri picture, you can see this is modified by me, keeping the same symbol which I have done. But you have 5 heads which represent Lord Shiva, 10 arms represent Vishnu, and lotus represents Brahma. So Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh put together are the ones which represent whole universal consciousness. Shiva is not separate, Vishnu is not separate, Brahma, unless until you understand all the three within your body, they are all equally important. First stage of creation, 10th stage of development, and maturation is what three are. So they are not separate gods, they are one God with three aspects of nature by and large. And having understood that, I think I understand Gayatri picture better. I understand Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh better. I understand Saraswati, Mahalakshmi, Mahakali better. I understand the entire universe better because I see in them sectarian knowledge. Once you experience the entire unity, impeccable wisdom, then you will know that these are all different parts, but you have to experience all together as one part. This is the divine mother of the universe I call Gayatri. Now this is a symbol of Devyank and Gayatri put together as such. I've already explained. This is now I'm going to show in this there are two aspects. One is called Shakta, another is Shakti. Shakta is the middle part. You can see the center part is 38.9 point. That is Devyank's part. The dynamic Shakti is 5 parts, and that is 61.8034. That all the beauty of this divine consciousness, this ratio is perfect. Square of 61.80 is 100 times the value of the first time. Both together are 100. All the mysteries of the world which world has not understood is explained step by step beautifully by Devyank alone. After understanding Devyank, you'll have left with no question which has not been answered scientifically, mathematically conclusive. That's it. Now comes the concept Dattatreya, the center port. You can see Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh as such. The center part of the picture is that. And that is what Dattatreya is all about. Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh is what you can see. Same symbolic representation. That's it. When come to the goddess Gayatri, the whole picture as such is that. You can see sun, you can see moon, you can see 5 heads, you can see 10 arms. You can show all that in this picture. She is complete. 5 parts, the Tatri is 3 parts. That is again Divyank ratio only. Now I am going to show you 7 parts of First concept, and this is the outer layer, which is 7 plus 8. That is, orbit is 8 1. Within that is 7. So it's 8 into 7 is this part which is evolutionary process of going high. Second thing, in this you can see 7 heavens also inside. Now, Antriksh is made of 7 parts, and these are the 7 things which are there in earth element. Antriksh made of 7 parts. This second part in the symbol Akhand itself. First is also Akhand, this is also Akhand. And this is also part of Akhand. This is Bhumi Lok, which is made of 7 parts. That is what I've tried to explain in this picture. Once you understand that, you understand how 7 layers of earth, 7 Antriksh, 7 heaven, and then go is all to the all about. Now all these things also picture shows there are 5 different energies. Prithvi is a solid matter, Apa is water, Agni is heat, Vayu is air element, and Akash is essence. All 5 you can see in this particular picture itself. Now you can see the 10 stages of Surya light going in 10 direction. Also you can see, and that is what Upanishad talk about. Surya's light can go in 10 direction. Surya has got 10 sisters. North, northeast, east, south, southeast, south, southwest, west, northwest, up and down are the 10 stages. This is beautifully seen in this particular picture. Now comes the lotus petals. Again, you have 10 petals on either side, which represent the universal consciousness by and large. I think one by one, Satchit Anand concept of 12 things or Mantra Vidya is very well reflected in this as a basic part of 12 petals, or maybe even 22 petals or 11 parts of Brahma consciousness you can see within that. Then comes the 10 chakras right in the middle from Muladhara, Swadhisthana, Nabhi, Usha, Anhata, Vishuddhi, Ajna, Vigyan, Pragyan, and Sahasrara. You can see all the 10 centers associated with autonomic nervous system, endocrine, right in the middle. You can see that also in this particular picture. Now let's see the vital elements also. You can see the third eye, you can see trident, you can see all the instruments which have with the 10 arms of Gayatri. You can see in this picture very clearly. The same thing is seen in Indian gods and goddesses or Hindu gods or Sindhu gods very clearly. There is nothing other than that. Every aspect of the universal consciousness is there in this symbolic representation itself. Now comes the question. You can see even Om, Bhur, Bhava, Swa in the lateral thing as such. In this, you can also see the different elements. You can see earth element, you can see sun element, you can also see moon. These are the 3 most important parts of the solar system. You have sun, white portion, you have Chandra, that's crescent part of the pink one, and of course the Bhumi. All the 3 make the life as such of the solar system very clear, and I think it's beautiful conjunction from that point of view, and all of them are made of 7 parts again. Now we come to the second question of Maha Gayatri Mantra, which is found in Maha Narayani Upanishad. And Maha Narayani Upanishad has used 7 Vyadis. That is Om Bhur, Om Bhuva, Om Swa, Om Maha, Om Jana, Om Tapa, Om Satyam. These 7 things are related with the 7 chakras, Muladhara, Swadhisthana, Nabhi, Anhata, Vishuddhi, Ajna, and Sahasrara. As such, they are associated with the bones of vertebral column and face and head. They are connected with the bone shield for the nervous system. That is 7 chakras. That is talking about externalized, which has no pure consciousness. This is more external world. It is not functional anatomy or neuroscience by and large. That is what I'm talking about. It is not defective, but it is external, non-vibrant aspect, and that is what Mahanarayani also talks about it. But Mahanarayani talks about 10 ohms here. First 7, then again, then again, then last again. So that 10 ohms And seventh thing is this next level of consciousness of Gayatri Mantra of Maha Upanishad, which has a significant role in understand the evolution of Gayatri Mantra itself. I think that was amazing because when you have a science, evolution also is very mathematically precise, concise, to the point. Now come to the question Akhand Gayatri Mantra, which I have given for the first time in Akhand Sutra itself, 2018. But here you have Om Bhur, Om Bhuva, Om Swa, Om Maha, Om Jana, Om Tapa. These six are the same thing which are there. But after that comes Om Dhyan, knowledge, Om Vigyan, science, Om Pragyan, impeccable wisdom. Om Satyam is absolute truth. So these are 10 Oms with 10 levels of consciousness. Makes it to the next level of Divyak alone. Then you have Om Tat Savitur Varenyam Vargo Devasya Dhimhi Diyo Yona Prachodhyat. That mantra is same as such which is there in Rig Veda itself. Then comes the next level of higher consciousness and then manifestation into the body again. Involution and revolution as such. So Om Bhur, Om Bhuva, Om Sava is the same thing which I started with. Then Om Jyotir is the light which we need to see. Om Vayu, we should see that air element. Jyoti is essence, Akash. Vayu is second one. Then come to Amrita. That means essence, universal consciousness as such. Pure consciousness, divinity by and large, is Amrit which gives us immortality. And same thing is talked about Mahanarayani also. Here it's much more like a Amrita. It is essence as such. Then come from there, universal consciousness, down we are going to come down. Then we have Om Adi Prashakti. That is Prashakti, which is again with 18 arms, which you can see in periodic table and you have seen in Gayatri as such. Same, then next comes is Om Gayatri is Neon 21. Then Aditi is Helium 4. Then Om with body and then Om. But in this particular process, there are 10 levels of consciousness with 10 Vishnus and 22 times the Om is repeated. And if you can call Om as a Brahma and 10 stages Vishnu and the whole universal consciousness Shiva, then all the information you need to know about all the 64 arts and sciences of the universal consciousness, one by one to the ultimate consciousness, is there in Akhand Gayatri Mantra itself. I think this is perfect reflection of Devyank in Mantra Vidya. Ganit Vidya and Mantra Vidya, Yantra Vidya, Tantra Vidya, all becoming together for the first time in this mantra itself. Then come to the same thing I have now. I'm going to talk about something which I would like to be known hereafter for. I have spoken about it before when I said in the beginning, before I was born, I prayed to be a perfect human being. And that means I wanted to be like a Loka-Palan, which Aitreya Upanishad is talking about. And Aitreya Upanishad is a reflection of Rig Veda itself. Rig Veda is talking of atom, element, molecules, compounds, cells, all such. All the gods and goddesses are different like the human consciousness. And same thing is beautifully designed into Aitreya Upanishad by Maharishi Aitreya to talk about a perfect human being, Loka-Palan, the custodian guardians, which human beings are expected to be. Now, I have tried my level best to become the Loka-Palan, custodian guardian. As a result, I am able to understand Aitreya Upanishad much better than anybody else. There are few things in this has not been explained by anybody. This is like a mystery to others. But for me, it's a wisdom of the highest order. Now I'm going to show that aspect to you to say how the Loka-Palan can be a perfect guardian of the world, who can give the wisdom to the world, who can lead the world to perfection, to unite everybody, to give the world peace, for which human beings are designed. A real human being is a thinking being. He can eliminate all the defects. We are not a copycats. We are not like donkeys, hardworking. We should be like horse. And I'm making it very clear. I keep it very clear. Almost every human being is very hardworking, appreciable otherwise. But we are like donkeys, copycat, We are not like Surya and its horses. Or Krishna with 5 horses, or Surya with 7 horses. The use of horse is very specific because power of a thinking nature, very powerful, high power. But it can think and can do wonders by itself, which only great horse can do it. Donkeys cannot do it. And that is reason. And I'm not downgrading human beings as we are like donkeys. Because even I have come through the stages. But learning step by step, I've come to the stage that turning out to be one of the 7 horses, or all the 7 horses of Surya itself, or the 5 horses of Krishna's whole Rath itself. Now let's understand to the stage. Now general perception is most of the people think that Loka-Palan is special created by nature as such. And I'm very clear, human beings are not specially designed. We have evolved over stages from mineral kingdom to plant kingdom to the animal kingdom to the perfect human being. We have evolved over a period. And that is what I understand completely. And that is the sense which I already explained in Akhand Sutra in 2018, also in Akhand in 2002 itself. Now there comes the question of first chapter, section 1 says, before the creation there was only Atma. Now I am making it very clear. And that is what Shunya is all about. That is Atma, which is spherical structure, which is noble element by and large. And that is what is explained in first text. Nothing ever blinked before the creation, means everything was stable. Like a tamas, darkness, mrityu form, which Upanishads are talking about. But that is Atma, everything is come from Atma, is sustained by Atma, goes back to Atma, is what it is all about. Now let the Atma create the world from Atma to the human being. That is what Aitreya Upanishad's first section is. Second thing is the whole world is made of 3 parts. Ambo, Mirichar and Maram. They are water, element and other things. 3 things are very important. Water is 61.80. Then there is air element and also the solid element. The 3 put together make the universe as it is. Without these 3 things, nothing can be done. This is a basic element by and large. Now, same thing, Ambrosa is in the form of Amrit, the Ganga or goddess, water by and large. You see very clearly this picture is how Ganga is coming in, giving us the enlightenment by and large. Now the consequences, chapter 3. The thought that let there be 3 words. Again, Atma says, let there be 3 words. And let's create a Loka-Palan, low guardian for the world as such. From water, dew, the person, and soul person became an undefined shape. Now, these 3 things are talking about triluminal layer after zygote formation of mother and father's sperm and ovum coming together to form zygote is further developed into 3 stages: ectoderm, mesoderm, and endoderm. As such, is the 3 things which third chapter is talking about. Chapter 3, chapter first, third section. Fourth section is talking about soul contemplated about the person. Soul thought of 8 divinities, which again represent the goddess Durga. And I make it very clear. Goddess Durga is my goddess because I understand 8 yugas. This is the oxygen. This is the Agni. That is the important thing to, from involution to evolution, it is the Agni which helps us. Without fire, there is no element. Without heat, there is nothing at all. That's why the goddess Durga is my deity. And Vaishno Devi is its reflection. And other gods and goddesses I learned through this because this is the one that increased goes to Vayu and Akash. When it's reduced, becomes Jan and Prithvi. That is important. Middle part of the 5 is Durga. That is fourth section itself is talking about. Now, fourth A section is then we created 8 divinities out of that. The first divinity which created was a mouth, and with that emerged voice. So that is connected with apa, the water, taste, mouth, speech, etc. All are connected with mouth alone. That is a beautiful thing first which is developed. Then fourth B part is the nostrils with which Vayu comes in. It's a touch and skin. It's beautifully described. Out of 8 things, Durga's 8 things. This is second one. And third part is the eyes, which is connected with sight and Agni. And now you can see the association of elements, organs, and other things put together with concept, which is highly defined in Veda, Upanishads, and other scriptures that modern science has not. Now, in the light of that, I'm transforming modern science to come to that level that we correlate all the information into one part and give the world how impeccable wisdom is all about. Now comes to the fourth part is the ears. It's the Shruti hearing sound with the temporal region. And eye is with the occipital. And sensory component is a sensory component. Now how to see now brain also different parts are getting immersed in the process. And that is what important is. This is temporal region, auditory. Before there was occipital, vision, and before that is sensory components. That's it. Now comes the question of fifth element is about hair, skin, other thing. It is about the touch. Our Prithvi, Vayu, skin, etc. all are associated with the fifth. So all the Panchbhutas I have already spoken is the 5 elements. Out of 8, 5 are with Panchbhutas only. That's beautiful. Now come to the sixth is the new element which is brought into the component is the heart, mind and moon. They are connected with the mind, the thinking process, experiencing process. And that is associated with Pranamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha and Chandran and heart, everything. Is the sixth part is important. I think that was most beautiful description. Panchbhutas to the sixth is mind, heart, moon, etc. Then comes to seventh is the navel, is the outbreath and expulsion. Now it's bringing another element called navel, outbreath, apana, and through that everything is falls out. So you can see the navel down. Nabhi, navel is the central center from which everything is thrown out. Mean expulsion is very important. That is apana as a seventh part as such is brought as a seventh part. Sixth is man, seventh is apana. When comes to eighth is the generative organs which reproduce system, sperm and ovum for procreation for the next generation. That is the eighth one he is brought. Not as the first Panchbhutas, then mind, then apana, then generation. I think it's the most classified description ever done by any document, so precise, concise as such. When come to the next stage, all these things of 8 divinities are found in the first trimester itself. You can see from conception to 1 week to 2 weeks to 3 weeks to 4 weeks, right up to 11 weeks are seen in this particular thing. Then body takes a particular form. All the 8 senses are such developed in that fetus as such. Fetus have come to one stage of development in the first 11 weeks. That's a phenomenal exercise, and that also is with respect to Divyang alone. 11 weeks, 4 months, 3 months as such. But its first is only 8 consciousness as such, nothing more than that. The organs related to that is developed as such, but the form of the fetus is not complete, cannot survive. It is just developing with 8, and that is what first chapter. Come to the first chapter, section 2. That was section 8, this section 2. The 8 divinities fell into the ocean. Now the child is formed, is gone into ocean, and ocean is subject to the hunger and thirst. Now the developing fetus, or whatever it is, has a hunger, has a thirst, and wants. And soul wanted soul to find a shape required with the divinity could eat food and water and so that is the first section 2 number 1 is all about the ocean water. What is this ocean water? I'm going to show you. Actually it's amniotic fluid. Amazing. Then comes the question, soul brought a gentle cow for the person. Now we are going to make the shape of the fetus as a cow. Should I be fine? The soul says this is not the idea, is too gentle, it's good, it's very important. Kamadhenu is there. is very useful otherwise, but is not the perfect soul for the soul which is fit to be a Loka-Palan. Kamadhenu is very useful, no doubt, but it cannot be a Loka-Palan as such. It has a certain restrictions. It is more into the animal kingdom, not to the higher thing at all. See, now you see, plant kingdom to reptilian brain, to you have come to the mammalian brain, and mammalian brain is what Kamadhenu is all about. It's talking about mammalian brain is developed, but nothing but. He said, no, not necessary. It is not the perfect one. Then he brought the horse instead of cow. And when he says horse, it's got a power, everything. It's talking about thinking cortical brain. It has a capacity to think, which is more than the animal brain, or reptilian brain, or mammalian brain. But here it is higher thinking brain like a human being, like all the human beings should be. But soul says, no, this is also not right for us. We want something better. That is the time, go to the third stage and says, well, I'll give you a human being. The divinity says, well done, this is the one we should develop. A perfect human is a perfect being, and this is the only one who can be in tune with the universal consciousness. Now, when come to the brain, human brain is something bigger than all the brains in the world. And I'm glad as a neuroscientist, as a PhD work, I realized the outer three layers of neocortex, no one in the world even knows about it, what is function. I know the functions, and that is what makes human being the greatest being in tune with universal consciousness. As a result, I am able to produce 8 hertz alpha frequency through the brain because I'm using 3 outer layers as an antenna through the universal consciousness. Now you can see cow is not ideal, horse is not ideal. We need to be someone who is with universal consciousness. When I say in the beginning, most of the human beings are like donkeys, hardworking, very intelligent copycats. But we don't have a thinking brain of a horse, of a perfect human being to be perfect. But to become a Loka-Palan to the world of whole thing, you got to be much higher than that. And that is what I'm talking about. The outer 3 layers give you the knowledge which is not found in any of the sciences in the world, in any of the subjects in the world. Hidden knowledge is there in Veda and Upanishad, but not as explicit as I am talking about. To explain this also, I had to be into universal consciousness explained, which nobody has done till that before me. That shows how evolved are we. And I told you this particular picture is the same picture in the beginning. I told you before birth is this picture. 22 weeks later is when my Antaratma entered into that. That's it. Now come to the fourth question. The fire became speech, air became breath, sun became sight, space becomes hearing, plant became hair, moon became mind, death became outbreath, and water became semen and anther. And these 8 divinities, what form they took, is explained beautifully in fourth of the second section. Beautiful. 8 consequences as very few. This is second trimester as such. Now, same thing is found in trimester from 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, right up to 22 weeks, maybe up to 24 weeks. You can see the development as such. I use 11 or 12 or 22 or 24 as such to develop the fetus as such. 11, 12 or 22 or 24, whichever. You give it 24 is also fine, 22 is also fine. But this picture I will give 24 as such, which is actually 6 months, 24 weeks. The child is fully developed. After that, even abortion is not permitted. That is the ideal time for Antaratma to come into this particular consciousness. Now come to the switch. And that is the stage when I had entered into the physical body of the fetus developing in my mother's womb to take over to modify further. Now comes the question of chapter. Fifth part of section 2, hunger and thirst, soul decay. Please find the abode of entry into the body. Now, hunger and thirst, telling soul, you see from which we can enter into your body. It's a very clear question. Food has to enter because body is asking for food. Where will it enter? The soul told the hunger ant, I assign you a place in these 8 divinities. You make sure that you share with them. And after that, hunger and thirst became the partaker, and as such. It's so beautifully given idea to think. There are 8 divinities. Which one is there which is going to receive the food for survival? All the 8s are defined earlier. They're cosmic consciousness. But out of 8, only one which is going to receive the food for survival of the Loka-Palan. That is a question which no one in the world has actually understood this particular Aitreya Upanishad. Even Radha Krishnan, who is master of art, president of India, has written it very clearly. Even he or anybody in the world is not able to understand that apana, apana, apana as such. But I can understand because I am in that level of consciousness. Now the question is soul, the first part. The guardian of the world, let the food come from the guardian as such from nature. The food kingdom is giving the food which is from mother is coming to the child, or nature is giving things. Now the question thought over the waters, and water produce a form, and from which produce the food. That shows again water is most important for thing. Without water it is a seed. When water is put along with the oxygen, it develops into what is a form, and from that the food can cut. It's so beautifully designed. Then the food taken to the disappeared from the body, and then food was brought from the speech, what is now, and tried to see the food through the mouth. Now comes the question of very different. How the food is going to be received. The first thing it talked about the mouth. Through the mouth, try to food which we all eat. We human beings eat from the mouth. Animals also eat. Everybody eats from. So first choice is the mouth. But mouth is not able to get, can experience, but this mouth is not able to take the food required for the body. It's correct. Mouth is not ideal for that. That means what we all use is not ideal in Loka-Palan's case. Second thing is let the food come through the nose. Nose can experience the food, smell otherwise, but it cannot receive the food for survival of Loka-Palan as such. Now I'm making very clear. First one, not possible. Second, also, mouth also not possible. Nose also not possible. Then third, eyes also can see it, but cannot receive the food for survival as such. Even third is ruled out. Now the fourth comes the hearing. Can hear sound, but cannot receive food for the Loka-Palan. Is very, very clear there again. Then comes the question of skin. It is conscious, aware, you feel it, but cannot receive at all. So all the five are not, all the Panchbhutas are not able to receive the food for survival of the Loka-Palan. Then comes the question of the mind. Mind can feel experience, but cannot receive the food for survival. Even the sixth one is ruled out. Second is talked about generative organs. Generative organ also cannot receive the food at all. That's it. Then comes the question of apana prana. Food at 8th stage, which was 7th earlier, became 8th, out which it throws out. But that is the person product which is supposed to throw it out is the one which is going to receive it. And this is exactly what Radha Krishna and all the people of the world, they are not able to understand how apana can receive the food. I can only show, because when you are not in tune with universal consciousness, you will have this question unanswered. Now that I am in the universal consciousness, I have all the knowledge and I know very well this apana prana is only one which can receive it, not other senses. Why? Because that is what he's talking about as umbilical cord. That means we are talking of the growing fetus in the mother's womb, like I told in the beginning. And I'm concerned, I'm able to experience that from that till today because I'm aware of it. That's all. But I'm not like Abhimanyu. I'm like Arjun. I can go into Chakravyuh and get out of Chakravyuh. But Abhimanyu is not able because he is not able to hear. But I could feel it because I'm born with that. Now the soul thought, how can food exist without a soul? How shall enter the whole body? and divinity is designed, created for different things as such. Then comes the question of opening the top of the head. The soul entered and entered the human body, and that made a difference. That means soul should enter only after 22 weeks or 24 weeks only. That is what I told in the beginning itself. 22 weeks or 24 weeks is the time when fetus is fully developed. Now it can enter, and next third semester it can modify the genetic structure to make your human anatomy, physiology, biochemistry, psychology as perfect as we should have for the next generation or next life to be a spiritual scientist. Beautifully designed. Then comes the question, after that human beings are born, delivery is taken place, and you become a perfect human being. We become Pedant, Brahman, all one. That is the 13th part of the third section is all about. That only person who's born with this knowledge can be called Brahman. He is a Brahman, knows Brahman by and large. And once we have all the impeccable wisdom right up to that, only then you become a Loka-Palan, then you become a Brahman by and large, because the entire universe is known to you one by one. Now, all these is the third trimester. You have 7th, 8th, and 9th month. By the time it's complete, and the child can deliver thereafter. How beautiful is science, and Aitreya Upanishad is coming closer, much better than modern science has ever think. As a matter of fact, Divyank has given me the knowledge that even perfect female menstrual cycle is not known to the science, but I know it fully. And that is what I'm showing it very clearly. Only person who knows a female menstrual cycle completely is Shibhushan Sharma with Divyank alone. Every other knowledge throughout the world is deficient. I have already shown. Now comes the question of the 14th part. The human being is called this, how it is perfect. As a result, you can understand Pedant, Brahman, all are one. We are one part of universal consciousness. Such a person is called Brahman, and he can understand the Brahman as such within the body. He can have the universal consciousness. Now you can see yourself. Where Shibhushan Sharma is talking of something which is genuinely thing found in Vedas, Upanishads, and Puranas to the core, and for that impeccable wisdom, your three outer layers of neocortex should be in tune with Akash Kosh. And I think that makes a real difference. Then come to the question of decoding the mystery of ocean is amniotic fluid only. As simple. And second thing is the hen entry can be, its full development of fetus can 22 weeks as such minimum. To after 22nd or 23rd or 24th, soul can enter into the fetus through the head. That is Sahasrara Chakra, and that is what Upanishad is talking about. Not from any other part. If you're born with the soul entering from Talu, anterior fontanelle, or head, Brahmandra, you can be a perfect human being. You can modify if its entries are 22, 24 weeks and thereafter. At the same time, full brain development takes 21 years, and cranial sutures close only after 22 years. So even forensic medicine says whether sutures are closed or not closed, it is up to 24 years. If it is not closed, you could be up to 24 years. If it is closed, means you have passed 24 years. Because after that, Antaratma cannot enter at all in any form. Even the descent of Mahashakti cannot take place. Even that has to be taken place before 22 years of age itself for you to become. But earlier it is done within 7 years, more chances of you becoming a perfect human being by and large. I think with this we have come to the end of this chapter, and I think how beautiful is enlightenment for the new year, 1st January 2025. We are starting a new life of a Loka-Palan, and how Loka-Palan has experienced everything. You are going to see that in much better than what I have shown right up to 31st December 2024. This is the video for the next generation, and modifying one by one would be there for the entire world. And I think that makes me close to the end of the day. We go to the next video section. This is the last one. I'm not going to talk about it. We'll talk about it as we talk about it as we go to the next stages one by one. But I think we have this particular video or OM has made it very clear. Unless until you become one part of Om, understand Aitreya Upanishad, understand Mandukya Upanishad, understand Ved, Upanishad, everything, only then you're fit enough to be in this universal consciousness. And the reflection is brilliant. I think you have done an extremely good job. We'll build on it. But many people must be wondering it's too lengthy. Well, if you're looking for wisdom, you have to listen. First thing, my advice is listen carefully for first time for all the 70 odd minutes. Second thing, in the light of this, what you have heard, read things as such, you'll add more value. Third thing, try to bring both together and make into new graphic presentation symbolic using your senses. And then move on, seeing all my videos. In a space of couple of years, you will become as perfect as you would like to be with the time to universal consciousness. And I think that's more than enough for the time being. I think enough for the day. Thank you very much.